We'll talk about that.
Yeah. Just
Yo, good morning. Welcome to the Stokastic.com NFL First Look Show, my favorite of the week, because we get to look back at the previous slates, put them in the rearview mirror, and then after that, look at the upcoming slate, of which this one is wild. I'm telling you right now. This slate is crazy. I'm tired today. I was up past midnight last night after that game. The kids wake up.
watch the game.
What?
I didn't even catch the end of the game. I'm not gonna lie.
I did. My wife got up with the kids though today. I think she actually got up at like 4:45 to go down in the basement to work out. She far more disciplined than I am. My workouts start no earlier than 8:30 ever. She's down at like 4:45, dude. Ridiculous.
I mean, mine don't start till 2026 at the earliest. So
why not 2025? Make it gyms must absolutely crush at the beginning of every year, right? Just crush. You see this massive influx of people, and then what happens? Like me, I'm going to open a gym and just only be open 3 months of the year.
Yeah, gyms they know what's going on, and then people forget to cancel. But
they forget to cancel, but also here's my theory, right? Not only do they, Devontae Adams traded to the Jets.
What?
We'll get to it. Let me finish my point. Not only do they forget to cancel, but Ben, what happens is they go, you know what? I'm not canceling because I'm going to get back there. I'm going to get back there. I'm going to do it. And they just never do. So their way of not canceling, So we're going to open a gym together, Ben, after we're done doing this.
Sounds good. I won't use my own gym, but I'll collect the money. Yeah, let's get into it. We got a lot to get to, some good stuff, and interesting week on our hands.
So Devontae Adams, is this confirmed? Devontae Adams to the Jets? Mello, we're not doing the categories anymore. We said we're gonna do them every quarter, basically, every quarter of the season.
Yeah, week to week, it's just we want to keep the show concise. We want to make sure it doesn't get too off the rails. So I think it's a perfect thing. Start of each month, basically. Each quarter, we do it. We move teams up. We move teams down. Be in good shape.
That's a big deal, though. Devontae Adams.
No, it's not.
What's that?
No, it's not.
What do you mean?
The Jets, they don't. Whatever. We can get into it. Of all the problems they have, I didn't think a top end wide receiver was one of them. Is he playing offensive tackle? Like, is he coaching?
I mean, it sucks. If you're Garrett Wilson, that blows.
Like, Lazard will still get his. I mean, somehow.
Yeah. If you're Garrett Wilson, that just blows. But I don't know if this is true. Underdog said that the Jets get Devontae Adams. Raiders got a conditional 3rd round pick for Adams.
Yeah, I don't get the NFL. I like you trade amazing players. Like, I would trade all my picks, and apparently I would just have a super team. It's like, like if you trade Mahomes, you get like a second that could become a first. Right. It's like, wait, what?
Just sell out for a quick like 3-year window to win every Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
NBA,
sell out. Yeah.
7 first-round picks for a guy that's going to be waived.
Yep.
It's like, wait, what?
I know, it's crazy. But anyway, we can talk about that or not talk about that. Here's why I'm not going to get too far into the weeds here, Ben, because the Jets aren't even on this slate.
Yeah, they're not worth talking about. Maybe in the Goblin section.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, if you were ever an NFL is rigged person, I tweeted this yesterday, and you've already spent all of your currency on useless bullshit, on nonsense, right? Like, this is rigged, that's rigged. Like, oh, void his prop because this guy got hurt. It's like, no, players got, what are you talking about? People get hurt. You should have saved up all of your currency for last night, because if you are the NFL is rigged type of person, I would at least look at you and go, you know what? I disagree. But yesterday sure felt like they were trying to get the Jets a win. I'll tell you that much. You said you didn't finish I'm telling you right now, dude. If you watch that game, balls overthrown by 15 feet, defensive pass interference. Aaron Rodgers clearly tries to tuck the football instead of throw it away. They call it an incomplete pass instead of a fumble. And by the way, I bet the Jets. I also bet a Breece Hall ladder up to 50 yards at plus 400. So we'll take it. Had a good night overall. But I bet the Jets. I was all about it. But I'm watching this game going, I've never seen a team get so many breaks that the Jets have gotten tonight.
And they still lost, which throws a wrinkle into the whole conspiracy. Like that's what I love about all these things. If the Jets would have won, that would be the talk. When they lose and it's rigged, then what?
Exactly. All I'm saying is if they did win that game, you would never hear the end of it.
Yeah, but they didn't.
They didn't. All right, Goblin of the Week presented by our man Brandon Staley. Do we have a clear front runner? I mean, it's got to be Nick Sirianni, right? Like Sirianni has to be the front runner for next year's Goblin of the Week, right?
He is, because he's just doing. First of all, he's got a lot to work with. Like he's got a real team, so expectations are high. And he even in like the Eagles were useful to me barely, but they were. I had them in my teasers and they got through. And then I'm not up to speed on this. He's yelling at the fans.
Just idiotic.
What are you doing?
And he got clowned by everybody in the media. And all of my buddies and I were, texting the Twitter videos back and forth when they'd pop up. There wasn't a single one of us, and we're diehard Eagles fans. There was not a single one of us that was like, hey, they shouldn't be saying this. All of us were like, hey, we're glad that he's getting absolutely just trashed. But yeah, that was almost a really bad word to use in that context.
Oh, I believe me, I've been there.
In any use, you know me way too well.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, I was.
I don't even know why that happened.
That just happens sometimes. I hear.
Yeah, but he got crucified, man. They were crushing him left and right. Is that a
rightfully
better word?
So?
Yeah, rightfully so. He is my Goblin of the Week. They won that game. I don't care. It wasn't a convincing win. The defense was fine, but Watson is horrible.
Yeah, he's bottom 5.
Bottom 5. And the play calling, like the general consensus right now in Philly, Ben, is that you don't even have Kellen Moore calling. Like the Nick Sirianni still has his finger on the button there, on the controls. And he's my Goblin of the Week. He's my Goblin of the Year, front runner for next year's presenter of Goblin of the Week. I couldn't go far enough. If there was a coach that could be fired after a win, it would have been Nick Sirianni after week 6.
That's fine. I'll say I didn't find any egregious Goblin behavior out there on the whole, which to me allows me to take who I'm going to take. And you got to bear with me because there's going to be clarifications.
Oh, I love it. I would never stop you here.
Dan Campbell, Goblin of the Week.
All right, maybe I'll stop you.
Dan Campbell and the Lions are rolling. They look fantastic. There's no doubt. And he's done a magnificent job. But I have to understand it. I'm grading them on a harsh scale out of respect. This is a Super Bowl contending team, right? Do you not think they could win it?
They're definitely in contention.
I think they could win it. They have an unbelievable offense.
Great football team, very difficult division. That's the problem, but great football team. Yes. I know where you're going with this.
Okay. Not his fault, obviously. They're in full control. Aiden Hutchinson shatters his leg. Very bad. Then you're in double full control. Then you throw a pass to Penny Sewell for reasons beyond my control. Then you throw another pass to an offensive lineman. You're up by like 40 points and you're running trick plays that actually seem like pretty good plays that you should be saving for useful moments, and B, just why? Why are you doing that? If somebody else ever got hurt in a situation like that, it's just stupid for a team that has a lot to play for. So I'm grading very harshly here, but you just really shouldn't do that. It's a horrible 0 upside, immense downside I did not like that at all, especially in the same game where you lose the heart and soul of your team on defense, and now you're trying to get, yeah, let's get your right tackle the ball in space.
Do you
What?
know why they did this?
No, I don't care about last year's vendetta if that's the reason you're going to.
It is the reason I'm going to, and it makes it worse for Dan Campbell.
I
It
agree with
makes it,
that.
if he was just doing it, trying things out in a game, but the fact that you're doing this as like some, first of all, it's not, and I am not a Cowboys fan by any stretch of the imagination. I can't
Oh,
stand that team. It wasn't the Cowboys' fault that the refs ruled was a Taylor Decker ineligible. Like, it wasn't their fault. So I don't understand what this whole emphasis or exclamation point really was outside of a huge fuck you to the Cowboys and to the refs and everything. You dog walk the Cowboys at home. The Cowboys at home have just been dismal this season. But you're right. What do you gain from that outside of like going into the locker room and being like, yeah, we showed them, look what we did. It's like a big win is a big win regardless. Is that not enough? I hear you. I don't understand. Listen, I'm a big Dan Campbell guy, but it's things like this where you just go, all right, Dan, like settle down. Him and Ben, like it's not Ben Johnson. It's Dan Campbell making these decisions. Like what? Settle down, dude. You don't, because we've learned in the NFL. It's just super, 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 super competitive. Tons of parity. Bad teams can beat good teams. That type of decision making in the long run always catches up to you. Always.
again, if you're the Lions and you're just useless like you've been for 50 years and you want to just like do stuff like that because you have nothing else going on, I still think it's kind of dumb, but have at it. This is the team. They're on the short list of teams that need to plan to play into January, like that need to make sure to the best of their ability. And obviously there's a ton of variance. Okay, let's try to get people, let's gear down when we can. We don't need to be stupid because we're good. Like, you don't have to. You already destroyed the Cowboys. You humiliated them. You don't need to go to gimmicks in that game. You just simply don't. And it's just so stupid. It's short-sighted. It makes no sense. I really don't like when teams do that.
Dan Campbell did this last year in week 18 and started his guys in a meaningless game.
Yeah.
And
And what happened to Laporta?
Laporta got hurt. And don't forget, Amon-Ra St. Brown got hurt, but was okay enough to play in the playoffs. You remember that?
I do
St. Brown
remember
got
that.
banged up too. And that was just like we're going to play our guys, but why? Yeah.
Again, it's stupid. It's just stupid decision-making. They're too good to be doing stuff like that.
Could not agree more. All right, let's take a quick look at the Millie Maker winner in our post-contest sim before we move on to week 7. Lots to get into today. For those of you curious or unfamiliar with this, use the tool. This tool is going to go a long way for you. It's going to make a big difference. And a lot of people I saw in your comment, your tweet the other day about this, where you said this guy is a time traveler, which is a hilarious tweet. And right, we're like, DFS at this point is just like guessing. It's just lottery. I said this the other day to Matt yesterday on the strategy show. Yes, in many ways, the Millie Maker or like the crazy mini max with $1 million, a lot of times, yes. But as a whole, I don't agree. But yes, when lineups like this and lineups like we saw in week 2 win, where you have Jordan Love naked with Sean Tucker, Chris Godwin, K-Dot, and the Bucks defense, Ben, right, this is, and you're going to get people in the chat going, listen, he won $1 million. That's a good lineup. It's not.
Well, no, I mean, I had all sorts of, I had the full, and this is what happens when you get a tweet that gets some attention. I had the full cast of bizarre, like from, it wasn't that crazy of a lineup, which is insane to say, to it was a lineup that was entered after the games, which is even dumber, to like, oh, this is why it's all 100% luck, which I get what you're saying, but no. Yeah, it's just, how many insane, you have to think about it in the scope of the tournament. There's hundreds of thousands of lineups. A lot of them are batshit crazy. So now say there's 50,000 of them. One of them hits all the magic bullets and wins. 49,999 of them score like 60 points and you never see them. So like you look at this lineup, yes, crazy stuff happens all the time, but this was I mean, what's there to say?
If I made this type of lineup here on the show or in the contest sims or something, this is how you know that people just want to be like, it wasn't that crazy. If I made this lineup, there isn't a single person that wouldn't call me. And by the way, people just assume that we have this resentment or animosity towards people that win with these lineups. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah,
like,
good for that guy. That's
yeah. I'm playing like 10 in the Millie anyway for this exact reason. Why would I be upset? I think it's hilarious. Like when Ben and I were talking about it on Sunday, this was us laughing at like, well, yeah, we're not 0.0% Tucker. Remarkable stuff. But there isn't a single person that wouldn't laugh at you if you built that lineup out on one of our shows. That's how you know that those people are full of it. Like there's no way they'd go, you know what, that kind of makes sense before, pre-flop.
Yeah, I mean the lineup is insane. Just because it won, it doesn't change that. And the thing about the Millie that's funny, if a normal lineup wins the Millie, you don't get the same thing where that's all luck to win the Millie. Every single thing has to break your way, no matter if the lineup is insane or very logical. Like,
right? Was this a single bullet?
I believe so.
Jordan, go to the post contest sim for me.
I'm almost certain that it was.
Has to be, right? Go to user ROI or yeah, go to user ROI. Why is that not up there? Isn't there a user ROI at the top left? Go to user ROI.
Yeah.
It was. Okay, cool. Where do you see that? Oh, you just threw everything from that guy up there. Got you. Okay, thank you. Yeah, single bullet. There was a great comment earlier in chat that I saw when we started this show that said maybe he fat fingered Jordan Love over Baker Mayfield. And I just looked, they were $100 off.
That would, I mean, I still would have a lot of questions, but that would be one less question.
I would have a lot of questions, but at least if you did that, I don't think it would be as insane. Like if that was Baker Mayfield in there, it's not a lineup I'd ever get to with Tucker and the Bucks D. But I also would not think it's insane because it's a full out Bucks onslaught that wins a lot of tournaments. Or sorry, not Bucks onslaught, but we've seen full out onslaughts of teams, even with the running backs, win tournaments.
Yeah. No, I get it.
If that's a fat finger lineup, I would be like, oh, that's actually not that crazy. Outside of Sean Tucker.
But I mean, Sean Tucker was 0% owned, literally 0% owned. I didn't even know it said that before, but or you could be like Team CJR attackers, and that's common sense. Yes, that's it. Excellent conclusion. But yeah, listen, it's fascinating. It happens, every couple of weeks you see something really wacky out there. This one I think is one of the craziest I've ever seen. But you know what? Sometimes the dots connect like that. Is what it is. That's a story for a lifetime.
It is. Yeah, it is. What did Baker put up? Someone said a fat finger Millie. Yeah, but actually, would have scored more with Baker.
Yeah, we would have scored more with Baker.
Yeah. So it's not even like, it was actually worse with Jordan Love. Anyway, you ready to talk some week 7?
Yeah, let's get into it. We'll build our own insane.
Yeah, and by the way, with the post contest sims, guys, you can go in and you can see the simmed ROI. What was the simmed ROI on that lineup? Is that okay? Yeah, which is funny. Right. I'll bet you if that was Baker Mayfield, it would be positive simmed lineup. I bet it would.
Yeah, I mean, it would certainly be a hell of a lot better.
All I'm saying is the difference between Jordan Love and Baker Mayfield with me looking at that lineup is so massive.
Yeah, well, considering you take all your skill position players and you sync them to your quarterback, that does make quite a difference.
That's what I'm saying, though. But like, what I mean though is one spot could have changed my entire interpretation of that
Yeah.
lineup.
I mean, if that would have happened, the conversation would have been, wow, Sean
He played
Tucker.
Sean Tucker.
That's it.
Yes.
Full stop.
Yes.
Like, wow, just one crazy play.
That's what I mean. And at least it would have still been tied to the team stack.
Yes.
Right. So like, then you go, okay, maybe that guy was a mega mind genius. One play flips the entire outlet interpretation of that entire lineup. Anyway, let's get into it. Thanks to you guys for joining us. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe to the channel. It's free, Ben. Did you know that?
Oh, I know. Free to subscribe. You just press it and you are part of the Stokastic team. 100,000 of your friends already did it. But what do we got on tap for quarterback?
Oh, man. All right. All right. We've got a lot on tap for quarterback. And I simply don't know. By the way, injuries, Anthony Richardson, the only key injury. I'll mention injuries at the top of each position because running back has a ton. So does wide receiver. How do you, unless the ownership is crazy here and you want to go Jalen Hurts against the Giants, which I actually think could be super sneaky, but I hate trying to figure that team out. How do you get away from Jaden Daniels at home against the Carolina Panthers? Tell me.
Amazing spot. I think the easy answer is that you've got Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. You've got other names at the top, but I agree. You take kind of that out of the equation. You look at it independently. He's in a great spot. Now his price, maybe this is where he belongs. This is the quarterback that, without knowing this, I would say he's probably had the biggest increase in price from week 1 to week 7, and rightfully so.
Not Deshaun Watson?
I don't think he can go that direction. I don't know what he started at. He was too irrelevant to begin with.
I mean, I'm kidding, but yeah, he's the same price as Jameis Winston this week. And he's cheaper than 4 other backups.
Yeah, I mean, wow, he is sub 5K. He started at, so he's up there. He had an $1,100 change.
That's I'm not suggesting you play him, trust me. No. The Panthers are just, the thing that could go wrong here would be just that, like they run the football. They run the football and it's a wrap. Like Panthers have allowed a league worst 12 rushing touchdowns, 921 rushing yards. I mean, all in all, they're terrible across the board. Their personnel on defense is just so untalented, Ben, and they already have a litany of injuries. The only way I see Jaden Daniels not working out, like, okay, I'm gonna throw it to you like this, and this may seem hyperbolic. So please tell me if you think that I'm exaggerating in a big way. I want a piece of Washington in every lineup I play this week. Whether it's Brian Robinson, if he's back, whether it's Terry McLaurin, whether it's full out stacks, whether it's full out onslaughts. And I will play the quarterback in those onslaughts. I'm having a really tough time not wanting to just, and it's early in the week, things can change. Having a really tough time not wanting to get some type of exposure pretty much everywhere to this Washington offense.
I'm not going to push back on any of that. I will just throw somewhat devil's advocate, because again, I also want exposure to Washington. All of that's good stuff. Washington, and stay with me here. This is it's not super mega mind, but Washington's actually pretty good. I think they actually might be good.
I do too. And
with that, ironically, I think that it hurts a little Daniel's upside because it goes back to what I said with Goblin of the Week and the Lions. You can't be messing around now. You actually might have some stuff to play for. So like, you can't have Daniels running like a wild man in games when you're in control. You actually have to keep him upright. You need to do things like that. I worry about if Washington is that good, can they get him to manage the game more, suppress the rushing upside, and lean on skill position players? And when you're 7,600, that's not a good thing.
But that's why I'm saying I don't care if it's Brian Robinson in this game. Like, I want pieces of this team.
100%. I'm simply saying that I do think that we're going to see some games if Washington continues where Daniels is not as electric with his legs.
Oh, I could see that being this one too, but I could also see him throwing for 4 touchdowns.
He's
The
not really
Panthers,
doing that though.
what's that?
Like, as good as he's been, he's got 6 passing touchdowns in 6 games.
Yeah, true.
Like, it's not what you think. And I'm not knocking him. He's been unbelievable. He has 0 300-yard passing bonuses, and he's got 6 touchdowns in 6 games. He's gotten there because he's got 4 touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah. He also has 6 touchdowns over his last 4 games too, though. Like
Yeah.
his first 2 games, you could see clearly he was getting acclimated here.
But his first game was his best fantasy performance of the whole year.
Yeah. You're right, because he ran. Yeah,
Because he
right.
ran.
But I'm talking as far as, look, I don't disagree with that at all. I'm just saying I don't see how they don't produce on offense in some form or fashion. That's what I'm saying, right?
We're
And
in
it
lockstep
might not
there.
be the ceiling game from Jaden McDaniels. So maybe it's the Terry one-off. Maybe it's playing Terry and Brian Robinson in the same lineup without Jaden Daniels. I don't think that's insane. The Panthers are allowing 380 yards of offense per game this year. I mean, it's been terrible. You look at passing yards per game. They're what, bottom, it might not even be as bad as you'd think, because they're 22nd or something, but that's only because teams can run on them at will, right? They can run on them at will. They've allowed on the season rushing yards per game. And I know you could be like, oh, those stats don't matter. These do for the Panthers. They can't stop the run. 153 rushing yards per game. The other thing, though, and I've said this a lot, they pass block extraordinarily well. So Andy Dalton and these guys actually can put some points on the board. The overs have been crushing for Panthers games recently. So
with Atlanta, yeah.
I still like Jaden Daniels, but I'm more to what you're saying. I'm more than open to going like Brian Robinson, assuming he's back, or Terry McLaurin, Zach Ertz in some spots. I'm going to want exposure to this Washington team. The Panthers defense is truly dreadful. I mean, they're the worst in the league.
Everything checks out. They're north of a touchdown favorite, healthy total. I just trying to rein it in, and I know we're talking overview a little bit. Trying to rein it into quarterbacks, though. I don't think that Jaden Daniels should be the most expensive quarterback.
Would you say that Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen are 2 preferred options for you over Daniels?
Yeah, I think all things. Now, again, it's Tuesday. Ownership, things like that will play a factor, but yes.
It's still Daniels for me right now. Who would you take?
Clayton knows.
That's my top tier. Who's yours? By the way, Panthers allowing 34 points per game through 6 games is preposterously high.
Yeah, that's bad. Mine would be Josh Allen.
Josh Allen? Okay. All right. What did Clayton say? Daniels running crazy is what have made him possibly good. Dial that back and they become way average.
I agree with that. I'm talking through a fantasy lens. I think he's fantastic right now at managing the game, but
yeah, I think you guys are looking at it through a different lens than I am, or through a different filter than I am, because I look at someone in Jaden Daniels who, against Baltimore, pretty good game on the road passing, didn't do much rushing. I look at him as a guy that when he needs to throw, he can. He was 26 for 30 for 233 against Arizona, 21 for 23 for 254 and 2 touchdowns against Cincinnati. Like when he's needed to throw the football, he's been dominant. So
both of those games he scored on the ground.
Why can't he score on the ground here? They're not just going to dial it back from the opening, whistle.
I think they're going to dial it back on a macro level.
Okay. Well, then that's where we differ here, and I can understand that.
Oh, I mean, if he keeps up what he's doing, that's what I'm saying. What he's been doing, I don't think is what he's going to continue to do on the ground.
Gotcha. Mid-tier. How about this? There's some, I think it might be a $6,200 Sam Darnold for me. Jordan Love is interesting. Kirk Cousins is interesting against Seattle. That could be a real shootout, and we'll pay attention to that secondary and those injuries for the Seahawks because that could really open things up for Kirk Cousins. I think that's the type of game where they would skew pass heavy, and I would like to get some of him for sure. Jared Goff against Minnesota, but Sam Darnold against Detroit. Listen, I think this is going to be my mid-range guy. He's coming off a brutal game against the Jets. That's a good secondary. Aside from that, he's been good this year. The loss of Aiden Hutchinson it cannot be overstated how big of a loss that is for a pass funnel defense whose weakness is the secondary. It's better than last year, but still their weakness. And the strength is their defensive line and getting pressure on the quarterback. Do you know, Ben, that Aiden Hutchinson leads the league in sacks, pressures, quarterback hits, and hurries, and Detroit already had their bye week. He has played one less game than most every other pass rusher in the league and still leads in every key pass rushing category. And he has got that gruesome leg injury. The loss of Aiden Hutchinson to me cannot be overstated. Not only cannot be overstated, it cannot be overcome. No matter who you try to put on that line to replace him, he's irreplaceable. And I think Sam Darnold in this spot could put up very big numbers this week.
No doubt, off a bye as well.
Off a bye, yep.
Just, I haven't played much Darnold, if any, this year. I just haven't been sold on a lot of that. This is a good spot for him. A really good spot.
I think this would be the first time I'd go to a Viking stack on my own, outside of Sims giving it to me.
I'm going to go with Geno. Now, maybe we could have used him as the low tier. Is that what we're doing? But I just
yes, that to me it was. I was counting sub 6K because there are options down there.
Okay. Well, I'm going to save him then. I'll go to Jordan Love. Jordan Love continues to put up numbers, man. He makes mistakes. He almost has it's not as crazy as a Jameis season going, but the guy is just making so many mistakes. And we've seen time and time again, look at Baker last week. When you're throwing interceptions, that's not a bad thing. In fact, a lot of times it's a good thing for your output. So I just look at him in a game pending, it's early in the year, so I'm not as concerned, but you always want to take a peek at the weather. You're in Green Bay. It's a lot worse than being in a dome, but assuming we're good to go there, Jordan Love at 6,900. He checks a lot of boxes, and you have so many stackable options. Probably too many.
It's a good spot. Also, it looks like Dontavian Wicks is going to be out, so you're going to have a slightly more concentrated target share. It definitely helps for Green Bay. Jaden Reed's dealing with an ankle injury. We'll pay attention to that, but if he ends up, being limited throughout the week, that could really, then Jordan Love to me looks even better.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm going Geno. I'll save some time. Geno
would be my guy too. A few other guys that I have down there just to throw out, Ben, would be Stafford against the Raiders. That Raiders team is totally lifeless. They're done. They're cooked. It's over. It's over for them.
How did they beat the Ravens?
I don't know. I don't get it. I think Antonio Pierce has lost these guys.
I don't know if he ever had them, but yeah.
He did last season when he was the interim coach. The rah-rah shit, everyone was all about it until you start losing football games. And then it starts to get a little old, I think. What about Dalton, though, at 5,200? Stafford's not my guy, Jordan. I was just throwing players out there. What do you think about Dalton 5,200? I just think when you're playing from behind and you actually have decent pass protection, he's kind of one of those guys that every week at a dirt cheap price point isn't that bad. They're a top 5 pass blocking team this year, believe it or not.
It's not that bad. He's playable. He's a statue, much like Stafford. It's more what I always like to ask this question. What are you paying down for? Are you paying down because you think that Dalton is going to have a great game? Okay, that would make sense. Are you paying down because you're saying, I think Dalton can have a good enough game and the savings allows me to get to guys that are going to have an amazing game elsewhere? That makes sense.
Bingo.
Okay, so it's the latter.
Justin Jefferson against Detroit without Aiden Hutchinson. Kyron Williams against the Raiders. I love some pay-up options this week. And I think that it's very possible Look, I'm not sold on anything. It's Tuesday. This is just our foundational kind of preliminary look at this. I think the Andy Dalton, Deontay Johnson combination is pretty good in a spot like this. You want to run it back with a Brian Robinson. You want to run it back with a Terry McLaurin. I really don't hate it. There are some good pay-up options that I really like. And if Dalton's playing from behind, a 20 spot from him could easily put you over the top. So that's kind of my logic here. He's very cheap. I think he's cheaper than he should be.
That makes sense.
And they have to throw the football. So give me Dalton at 5,200. Running backs?
Running backs.
All right. By the way, guys, many of you already probably know by now. Has there ever been an easier way to get access to our core Sims package, $100 value, than there is right now? Because I actually don't believe there has been.
No, I mean, when you hear this, which you're about to, there are so many things that are unique about this. I'll let you explain it, but then I'm going to chime in with why this is kind of different than some of the things we've done in the past.
It's awesome. And it's one of these things where if you were someone that was thinking about it, you're on the fence, maybe you didn't have the funds right now, or you're not a high volume player and you didn't want to pay for a subscription. Well, guess what? This is for literally anybody. If you go into the description, Jordan can throw it into the chat as well, and click that link where it says join any sportsbook, get Stokastic Sims for free. Click that. It'll take you to a landing page. Okay. With that landing page, all you have to do is select one of these offers. Click claim offer. Has to be through this page. Click claim offer and sign up on one of those sports books. Deposit their minimum and place a bet. After that bet settles, right, with whatever your minimum deposit was, email us with the welcome email screenshot and a screenshot of your first settled bet. That's all it is. You've got a free month of core $100. That's the single lineup sim. That's ownership. That's player projections, top stack, boom, bust tool, premium Discord, every optimizer for underdog, prize picks, DraftKings. Oh, and the Sims as well. Generate up to 1,000 lineups with the Sims. You have the late swap simulator, the post contest simulator, literally everything, Ben, 100% free. All you have to do is use that page specifically and claim one of those offers on the page. Now, as I always say, if you're going to do it and really try and double up, you do Bet365 that's giving you $200 in bonus bets on a $5 bet and a $10 deposit. If you've got the funds, you do it on Caesars. Even so, Caesars has just been a great book for me to bet. If you're not somehow on FanDuel yet, bet 5, get 200. There's a lot of ways to go about it. If you're in a non-legal betting state, all of these pick'em sites have the, first match deposit bonuses, usually up to $100 instantly into your account. So really, whether you're in a state where you can bet or where you're in a state that you can play pick'em, every single one of these has got you covered, and you're getting the free month of core $100 value, all of our tools on the site.
So you took some of my thunder. One of it is there's a lot of people, including me, that are on some of those, but I'd say almost no one watching is on all of them. And no matter where you live, you have the option to get on some of them. I don't know how many, depending on your state, but it's that easy. And it's not just new customers. You can be someone that already uses these tools and you just say, well, I'm going to tag on an extra month for free. Why not? The last thing, and I think you mentioned this, but I just want to hammer it home. This stacks. This is what's different about this offer. So we've offered some stuff before. Hey, you can come try this for 2 weeks. You can try this for a month. If you signed up in theory for 7 of these, you get this for 7 months now, literally 7 months.
Multiple sports if you want to.
Mix and match, do whatever. That's the difference to me and why I'm so excited that we built this out. It's not just like, oh, I already did this once and now I'm not eligible. You can go right down the list if you want, or just do one and see if you like it and then say, I'm going to do another one. It's totally flexible like that.
Plus, you should be on as many books and pick'em sites as possible anyway. So link in the description and chat. Follow those simple steps. It's
Use
easy.
the link. I mean, you have to claim the offer there. Just want to be clear.
Yeah, got to claim it on the page. I've turned 140 in bonus bets from the Thursday Night Football promo on Bet365 over the last 2 weeks into like $600 on ladder plays. Just it's been awesome over there. Anyway, Kyron Williams for me. is my top tier running back by far. Now you've got Barkley going back to MetLife and East Rutherford going up against the Giants. Very interesting spot. Very interesting spot. I absolutely love Kyren Williams this week. Throw it on the board, Jordan. That my top tier running back is far and away Kyren Williams right now.
No pushback. He checks basically every box, even though he's expensive. You got the Dusty Raiders. This guy gets targets. This guy gets carries. He's 20 touch volume seemingly every week. How about, I mean, this isn't, but finally, Bijan did some stuff. Finally. You think this is the start of the return of Bijan Robinson to a top tier running back, or was that a flash in the pan? Because he's at home against Seattle. He had 15 carries. He had 4 targets. The only difference between that and all his mediocre games was he happened to score twice, but he did in fact score twice.
I'm good.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm very little interest in a guy like Bijan Robinson this week.
I have a lot more
Algier had
interest than you do.
18 for 105.
So
Why do I want to try and figure that split out? They were huge favorites. They rolled Carolina.
that's to me a good thing.
To me, it's not. To me, I would just rather pay an additional 1,000 to get to Kyren, who's playing 90% of snaps every week. He has zero competition in the backfield. A guy in Saquon Barkley, yes, he's coming off a bad game, no doubt about it, but he's getting all of the running back opportunities in that offense. Like if Jonathan Taylor's back, Trey Sermon's been terrible. I would take Jonathan Taylor against Miami 10 times out of 10 over Bijan Robinson. As a matter of fact, I think Joe Mixon in his second game back, I would take him against Green Bay over Bijan. So yeah, we have very different views on this one this week.
That's fine. And listen, I want to be clear. Kyren is awesome. I'm not going to push back, but I'll go with Bijan just to change it up.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I feel like I got lucky on not lucky on Bijan. We took an opportunistic buy low spot. The prices come up. He's up there with, I mean, I'm telling you, I like Jonathan Taylor if he's good to go this week. I love Kyren. I have some interest in Barkley. I probably get to less of him though. Even Mixon, I think, gets back to where Dameon Pierce sees a lot less opportunities, but he's not my top guy. It's stacked above 7K this week, man.
Oh yeah. Definite good options. And this does start to allude back immediately to what you were saying about quarterback. Like maybe these are why if you want to double dip at running back, you have to pay down at quarterback. So I get it. We'll see what type of value opens up though. That's always kind of that unknown early in the week.
Man, I assume James Cook plays, but if he doesn't, Ray Davis is 5,200. I like that guy. I bet his over receiving yards at 6.5 yesterday. I ended up with 58 or 55.
It was yeah, he'll be crazy popular, but he should be.
Oh, and by the way, guys, BOGO, you already know. A lot of you guys came from this show and are hanging out with us. It's been really fun. But if you want to join our Tails platform over in the premium Discord on the Odd Shopper side, use the promo code BOGO, BOGO, buy one, get one. If you grab mine, you get Ben's for free. If you grab Ben's, you got mine for free. It's that simple. We're having awesome NFL seasons in there. Sunday for me wasn't great. Yesterday made it all back and more. We had a great night yesterday. You had an amazing week betting. Plus, it's an awesome community. I hope that those of you who have joined have had a great time and are liking it and want to stick around. But yeah, BOGO, link down there in the description. You'll see it right when you click down there. If you ever wanted to join us, that's how to do it. Buy either Lafayette or Ben's package on Tails, get the other for free. Download the app, set up notifications, get in the Discord. All the bets go there as well. Really good stuff, man. It's been so fun. Plus, it's super cheap. It's very affordable. Where do you go in the mid-range?
So, I mean, not even just the mid-range, just the whole running back slate. I mean, the whole thing is riddled with Q tags and outs across everything. Chuba. Now the price is coming up. He's 65. But even so, the thing I liked, I always worry with the Panthers, like, well, they're just awful and they're gonna get blown out a lot. So what happens? Apparently nothing. 18 for 92 against Atlanta. The guy can catch targets. He's got 4 or more targets in 5 straight games. I kind of think he's matchup proof and script proof relative to what we're talking about, and I don't fear Washington's defense at all.
I like Chuba this week. Yeah, I do. I also think there are two guys that we'll see. I don't even know if Will Levis, I hope gets benched.
Wow.
What a disaster. But Tajay Spears is not going to play this week. Tony Pollard probably gets a huge workload. Not a matchup I love, but also not a matchup I hate. The Bills have allowed more receiving yards to opposing running backs. This is why this is why I laddered that Breece Hall receiving prop yesterday over in Discord. They've allowed more receiving yards, more receptions, more running back targets than any team in the league this year, Ben. 368 yards to running backs already, 41 receptions, 50 targets. They haven't been great at stopping the run either. Gave up another 100 plus to Breece Hall yesterday. Tony Pollard's no Breece Hall, but I think if Tajay Spears is out, you might just see another immense workload for Tony Pollard. If that's the case, I will go right back to him at a low 6K price. Played 74% of the snaps last week. That was with Spears playing 21. Julius Chestnut played 3 snaps. Maybe he plays 15% of snaps in this next game. I like Tony Pollard here. Even if you don't love the matchup, I think the workload is going to be massive.
Don't love the matchup. The workload can negate that. I'm a big Tony Pollard truther. We're not going to talk about Calvin Ridley. Yeah,
he had 8 targets. He had 8 targets in that game.
I had the over. I was with you.
I saw Andy Holloway tweet out all of the targets from that. There was maybe one catchable target among all 8 of them. It was just
gets bad.
Atrocious. But look, it's a bad matchup. They're huge dogs in this game. I'm not denying any of that. But what if he's on the field for 80+% of snaps against the Bills team that really has been bad against running backs?
Yeah, and again, Tony Pollard's another dynamic back who, he's not Kamara, but he's not Derrick Henry either in terms of passing upside.
I'm going to make Tony Pollard my mid-range guy.
Yeah, but
I will throw one more out there for you. It's a shame we can't play Nick Chubb this week at 6K because he's expected back and Jerome Ford is out. And they're facing the Bengals. You can't do it though. There's no chance.
Definitely not.
It's Brian Robinson. If Brian Robinson's back, the only reason I'm not making him my number 1 here, because you better believe I would, is because he's questionable. That's the only reason. If Brian Robinson is good to go and he gets full practices in this week against Carolina, he's far and away my favorite mid-range option, and it wouldn't be particularly close.
Yeah, I mean, he'd have some of the highest touchdown equity on the entire slate. So
yeah,
not going to push back. They just, the only thing that freaks me out again, it's credit to Washington being good. They don't have to give him the ball as much as they probably thought they needed to. Like Eckler, McNichols, these guys have been very effective when they needed them to be.
They have. Eckler not so much running the football, but yeah.
No, but they have options. That's the only thing that's at times a little frustrating.
They do. That's why I'm saying he needs to be a full go for me to be there. All right, low tier. This is ugly. This is ugly. Really ugly. I have one guy though.
I mean, how low are we talking about?
Sub 6K.
No.
You want me to give you mine first?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have one, so.
If Zamir White is out, I might go to Alexander Madison because of the workload.
Oh.
The Rams defense is really bad.
Oh. Yes, it is.
It's really bad. Look, once we get down here, we're really you're grasping at straws. You're not exactly picking anybody that you love. This is why Andy Dalton to me is viable, because you're not going to have, you probably will have value as it opens up, but at this point of the week, you don't. Madison played 68% of snaps last week. He had a pretty big workload in this game as well. If Zamir White misses again with that groin, and Madison's coming off a 19 touch game against Pittsburgh where he was actually pretty decent, I would go to Madison against the Rams. That defense is bad enough for me to do it.
You have no real options down there, so it's Madison by default, knowing what we know now. It would clearly be, I think, for both of us, Ray Davis.
Oh, without question.
If we get news.
I mean, if you want to put Jordan, if you want to put an asterisk, and then like if Zamir White is out, and then you can put Ray Davis if James Cook is out, because
that's fine.
Ray Davis, by the way, at 5,200 is the answer there. Undisputed #1 guy. If James Cook is out, it's not close actually.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm saying he'll be the chalkiest play on the slate if everything was the way it is now and James Cook is out.
He will be the Bucky Irving of this week's slate.
Yep. Yep. All right. Wide receivers. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, all of these guys this week look fantastic, but Jefferson to me, I won't bury the lead, Ben. Jefferson to me this week, I think the absence of Aiden Hutchinson, I'm not saying they can't do some good things and trying to patch some holes, but it's still putting the Band-Aid on a bullet wound here. And I think Justin Jefferson has that. He is coming off a 14 target game. He hasn't even had that blow up performance yet. I really like him this week. Yes, I'm willing to pay for Jefferson against the Lions at home.
I mean, it's not worth spending time on. For me to reiterate, he's an amazing play. Should be the most expensive wide receiver. I will also make it a priority to go and do that. My biggest thing that I want to pose, I'm very interested to see the ownership spread between Jefferson, Chase, and then St. Brown, who I would expect will be the lowest owned of the three.
Really? I would have thought Jefferson, St. Brown, Chase. Would you say Jefferson is clearly going to be the highest owned of the three?
Clearly.
Yeah. Clearly. What about an AJ Brown at did you see those grabs he made on Sunday?
Oh, I was watching because I needed them.
He's a freak, man.
He's the man.
He made 2 outrageously difficult catches. I mean, impossible catches. This guy comes down with both of them. He's so good.
Yes, he's quite good.
He's going to have less ownership than all 3 of those guys.
I don't think so.
You think St. Brown will have less, or do you think Brown will be second behind Jefferson?
I think. Oh no, I think that Chase is going to be higher on than you do.
Okay, so you'd say Jefferson, Chase, Brown, St. Brown, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I would go Jefferson, Chase, St. Brown, Brown. I think. Yeah, I think I probably would. I'd agree with you that Chase probably gets a little bit of ownership there.
I just look at St. Brown and I think, right, and this is a concern for me too. The Lions have so many weapons. They've got 2 stud running backs. Jameson Williams has emerged. Laporta's a stud tight end. They're too cute for their own good at times, and they're throwing to people that they shouldn't be throwing to. Is that because they blow people out, or in what has got to be one of the 2 or 3 biggest games of the season for the Lions? Maybe the biggest game of the season when you look at it. Does St. Brown get 19 targets like he did against Tampa?
Oh, Einsteinium, 6K Chubb. He will likely get in 3 full practices after 3 limited last week. I'll click him. Alvin said Chubb is this week's Mixon. I don't know if that's serious or not because he put an LOL after it. Well, no. Mixon's coming back from an ankle injury. Chubb is coming back from a devastating. His leg went in a direction that legs should not go, and he has not played since week 2 of 2023. It is not even remotely close to the same.
The books will tell the story here. Just if you really are contemplating it, just go to the betting markets, go to OddsShopper and the free odds screen, and just look at Nick Chubb's. And I'm not even leading the witness. I'm genuinely saying this. Just look at what they line his carries at.
What do you think it would be? I'd put it at like 8.5.
I was going to say 9.5.
Yeah.
Like, that tells the story. You would never pay 6K for a guy that's not supposed to get 10 touches.
10 touches. I mean, oh, you're saying, right. Yeah. I mean, you want much more than that. And
That's
then
what
a
I
lot
mean.
of people mentioning Raheem Mostert as well. That's obviously if Devon Achane is out, which I don't know. You know, they're coming off a bye, but yeah, that's tough for me because I think Jalen Wright can play a legitimate role in that offense. I'd probably just stay away from him. It's a terrible football team. I don't like that spot very much this week, even though it's a good matchup. Just
Yeah,
wanted to throw those out there, Ben.
no, that's fair.
Mid-range of wide receiver. Drake London against Seattle's interesting, especially if Reek Woolen is out again. But I don't, there's three guys I really like here, maybe four, but there's three I really like. Number one is Terry McLaurin. Number two is Deontay Johnson. And number three, this one may surprise you a little bit. Number three is Tank Dell. I don't see why, and I don't quite understand why the difference in price with Nico Collins on the IR, the difference in price between Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs is what it is. I'm taking Tank Dell at that price over Diggs 10 times out of 10.
I'm with you. Particularly on that specific point, I don't think that's accurate in terms of their roles. This is a real good range, though.
Great range.
I can honestly make a case for almost any of these guys. I mean, you got you if you're going with Dalton, I would assume you're saying basically you're preloading Deontay Johnson.
You have to.
You kind of have to, right?
I like Deontay Johnson a lot this week.
I do too. You've got McLaurin. I would say he's basically preloaded with Daniels. And these are also one-offs, to be clear. What about DK Metcalf? I like this spot.
He was my fourth. I said
Okay.
maybe four. DK Metcalf would be my fourth. Atlanta has done a good job of, you know, kind of preventing that downfield pass, but DK Metcalf's a monster. And I wouldn't be surprised if his ownership comes in lower than all three of those guys I mentioned. Maybe Tank Dell isn't super popular, but that game could shoot out.
I like DK Metcalf. You know, up top, I'm going with Jefferson just like you. I think that's an undeniable spot. When we get to this mid-range, though, it's not as clear cut. I think there's a lot of different options to go to. I wouldn't be shocked to see my lineups have 2 or 3 guys in this range, but I'm going to throw a target for DK Metcalf. I think he's got certainly double-digit target upside, and it's a good matchup.
I get it. One more thing, and yeah, I'm with you. I have him listed as well. I also threw Drake London in there. I think he's fine. You know, I have no issues with London. Devontae Smith at sub 7K is okay, but definitely not a priority for me. Look at the last 2 weeks because Nico went down at the end of the first quarter in week 5. The last 2 weeks, the target share is 22% Tank Dell, 19.5%, or I'm sorry, 22% Diggs, 19.5% Tank Dell. Tank Dell has actually run more routes than Stephon Diggs. By the way, this isn't me saying that you shouldn't play Stephon Diggs. This is me saying that I don't really understand the difference in pricing. And then when you look at opportunities in the red zone, both of them have one target inside the 10. Dell has one inside the 5, which ended up being a touchdown. Like I just think they're probably closer in usage than we think, Ben.
I think so too. And it's not to mention, you know, on a prolific offense like that, any given Sunday, even if they're not, you still have outs. Like this is not a situation where there isn't touchdowns to go around. So, it's a great range. It really is one of the strongest on the slate.
What is that? Red CYC Sports Debo maybe question mark. I'm just having a tough time falling in love with anything from this Niners Chiefs game.
If you play Debo, I think it's pretty simple. You're doing it because he's not supposed to be popular.
He won't be.
That's what I mean. And he's Debo.
I'm a huge fan of Debo. I love Debo Samuel, but he is in this spot. I think you could say he's overpriced based on the price point. Like there's 5 or 6 guys below him in that 6K range that I like more than Debo this week.
I agree, but in a way that you're already paying for that. You know what I mean? Him
Yeah, I
being
just don't know how.
overpriced,
I don't know how cute I have to get. Is all I'm saying.
it's definitely cute.
What about Neighbors? Assuming he's back, 7,500 against Philly.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly in play. I'll be honest, I'm not in love with it. I'd rather go get Jefferson. I'd rather go down to McLaurin Metcalf range, but it was a concussion, so
Yeah, me
should
too.
be fine.
I like him. Like he's squarely in play just
Oh
based on
yeah, absolutely.
his target share, but he's not in no man's land because you might just be able to argue that he's underpriced and he should be up there with the top tier, which in that case, if that's your belief, you know, you should definitely be getting to a lot of him. Give me Terry McLaurin, Jordan at the mid range. But I think both of us could have gone anywhere there. Deontay, Dell, McLaurin, Metcalf, London, lots of spots. If you want to get cheap, Jordan Whittington's 4,800. Ray McLeod's 4,400. This is a better spot. I gave him some negative boosts in our sims last week because I didn't think they'd need him like they've needed him in spots where they see shootouts and it has to skew pass heavy. Noah Brown is 4K. Pretty involved last week. You might want to look towards him if you're stacking Washington. I think that's a nice little play there. And then we'll have to pay attention to what we get out of the quarterback position in Indy. I think Richardson will be good to go if that's the case. I'm less high on Josh Downs, but he's been awesome.
He has been. I always struggle with those type of guys just because it's so boom bust and whatnot at times. But he's kind of maybe superseded that, or I had a misread on what he does because the targets have been very healthy for him, and you continue to do that at these type of price ranges. I get it. I want so badly to click Amari Cooper.
I knew it. I was going to ask you about
So
it. That was my next
badly.
spot. That was my next spot. I was going to ask you about Amari. I do too. Against the Bengals.
I mean,
great spot. Objectively a great spot.
Amazing spot. You can really make a case for both ways. The easy way to throw it out is that the Browns under no circumstance should be in your lineups because they're that bad. The other case, though, is that even in a horrific showing, like say you throw for 195 yards, which is just awful. Like Amari should get like half of that minimum, it feels like, in this offense. And maybe the backfield gives you a little more balance and it opens it up. I have to seriously, I'm going to consider him. It's just very uncomfortable.
I am too. I don't have much interest in the Deshaun Watson Brown stacks, but I will one off Amari Cooper. Put him as your play. Put him as your tier play.
Put him on the board, Jordan.
I like it. I got him up there. It's scary. It's gross. But you know what? When these spots do pay off, Ben, they pay off in a huge way. That's the difference. A lot of weeks, they're just not going to work. Let me say real quick, one other thing. keep in mind, though, when we talk about these type of plays, like they shouldn't be deciding whether you win or lose. Well, they shouldn't be deciding whether you lose that week. They could definitely decide whether you win that week. But maybe if you're only playing a couple lineups, sure, I get that. But for me, like a guy in Amari Cooper, you could probably get 15%, Ben, and be wildly over the field. But if he doesn't have a good game, it's not like it's over for you.
In life.
Maybe.
Yeah, 100%. Now, again, playing like one lineup, you can't talk about ownership because by definition, every player you roster is in 100% of your lineups.
Correct.
And you're overweight on the field, obviously. That all goes without saying. But if you have nuance in your lineups, you can have guys in the pool both directions. I think that's not to go on a soapbox or a rant or a monologue. You can be like, wow, this guy's going to be 40% owned. I don't like him. I'm going to play 15% or 20%. So if he does do well, I'm still not coffined, but I'm willing to sacrifice 1/5 of my portfolio for 2/5 of the field. Like you can take nuanced positions like that. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. And the lower owned they are, the easier it is to get overweight without tanking everything if it goes wrong.
Absolutely. This is assuming that Cup is out, but give me Jordan Whittington.
I need that guy to score a touchdown very badly 2 weeks ago, and he had like 30 targets, and then he got some type of injury and he left.
Shoulder.
Um,
If Cup is out, Whittington's in a great spot against the Raiders.
18 targets in the last 2. He's clearly emerged, and in that pass happy offense, sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I like about. I'm almost certainly, if Cup is out, I can't imagine I don't have lineups with Whittington and Williams and no one like it and no Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, the way the league is like kind of transforming, it feels more and more that when you're on a team with some of these quarterbacks, just the way they are, like if you're not super dynamic, then roster construction, it just changes. I don't know. I think we're seeing the NFL evolve. We talked about this when Lamar burst on the scene. And now, I mean, how many quarterbacks come into the league and have no mobility? Like none. Basically zero at this point.
Right. Yeah,
Like
very few.
Like
You know, even
everyone
guy
is
like Drake May can run. Bo Nix can take off. They're not running quarterbacks, but they can move.
Everybody has like minimum like, and we just saw Burrow just break like a 40-yard touchdown, which was ridiculous. But it seems like the floor of rushing is like the Burrow, Mahomes,
Pretty much.
like where it's like, okay, I can, if I need to, I can just scramble.
Yeah, and then you still have your Kirk Cousins and Rodgers types, but they've been here a long time.
I'm saying of new quarterbacks, who
No,
is
right.
like that?
I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
None. I can't think of a quarterback that doesn't move.
One more question before we go to tight ends and wrap this one up. Cooper tight ends and wrap this one up. That's good stuff. Cooper Kupp and Kyron Williams. If Cooper's back, not limited, get some full practices in this week. Would you consider the Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams stacks? It's expensive, but the opportunities there might be insane.
It can be done, but I'll be honest, I don't think I would do that. It's $16,000.
The opportunity cost is a lot when you have so many other good high price players. That is the problem. But man, a 30-point game from the two of them, if I look back, I'd be like, oh, well, I'm not shocked.
The second problem with it is when your quarterback isn't expensive either, it makes it even harder for that to work. So like if Stafford was 7,000, you'd be like, all right, instead of paying 23,000 for a 3-man stack, I'll go 2-man, and maybe Stafford has a good game, but not a great game. Stafford's 56. So how the hell do guys at that level get there to the ceiling, and Stafford at that price doesn't have at minimum a solid game?
True. Yeah. Yeah. Like you didn't need to play Andy Dalton type game. Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it was like Baker last, like it's almost impossible for that to happen.
All right. But Cooper Kupp would be viable though, if he's back though, without question, on his own.
Yes.
Yeah. This team has a pretty decent total, right? They're the Rams are 5.5-point favorites. That tells you all you need to know. The
That's
Rams,
sad.
It's sad. All right. 5.5-point favorites. What's their implied total is probably sitting at, hell, it's probably sitting up around 24.5 or so, which is a lot for them. Let's see. It's 25.5, Ben. It's a big number.
Very healthy.
A big number. Yeah. All right. Let's get to tight ends. It's ugly.
It always is.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, one more reminder for those of you that jumped in late. Use that link if you want to get our core $99 package, Sims, post-contest sim, late swap. What else? Ownership, player projections, boom, bust, top, every tool on the site for any sport. Just use that page, click the claim now on any of these, get any of their bonuses, then email us with the steps and get that free month. And you can get as many as you want If you're not on any of those, every single one counts towards another month of the sport of your choosing. Links right down there. First one in the description. Travis Kelce and Brock Bowers. Kelsey's 6,300. I'm still not enamored with him, even without Rashee Rice. I think Bowers is my guy here. If I'm paying up, it has to be Brock Bowers.
I would agree. Feels like a little chasey, but he's just that good. He's 58. Amazing targets, good game. It's Bowers.
Sorry, guys. Tight end's going to not take very long here.
There's not much to say. There's no reason to force positions like that.
You can't force Laporta at that price right now. I mean, he's just still overpriced. He needs to be a mid 4K tight end right now. He has to.
It's not him, it's the offense.
I know. He had one. Wasn't it like the trick play that he scored on last week?
Yeah. Every play they scored on was a trick play.
Was it a fake punt or something? I didn't see.
It was like a 6-man triple reverse. Yeah, he had one catch for a touchdown.
On one target. You can't do it. I'm not going to Kittle here either at 6K. That's a really expensive price point. I know he's coming off a couple of nice games. Kittle's having a great season. Credit to him, but the volume's just not high enough. Like I'm having a tough time with all of the good pay up options across every other position going to pay up here unless it's Brock Bowers.
Yeah, I mean, Bowers would be 1, Kelce would be 2 for me.
Mid-tier, I'm going to go Tucker Kraft out of necessity. I want nothing at all in this entire tier. It's him or Dalton Schultz.
I think you could play Ertz if you wanted to.
Okay, I was saying like 4K range, but you could throw Ertz in there as well.
Ertz is 39, so like, yeah.
Ertz, Schultz, Tucker Kraft, I think are the 3. Agreed?
That's fine. There's not much there. I would hope that I'm either paying up for tight end or punting.
If you go Zach Ertz in that tier, I'll go Dalton Schultz, Jordan. And then lower tier. All right. I might go Grant Calcaterra here at 3,200 with Dallas Goedert almost certainly being out. Also, I don't know what's up with Tommy Tremble, but even though Ian Thomas came back and started, I talked to Greg about this. I also had a 2-unit play on the over receptions for Jatavian Sanders. Just a ton of work in that game. 7 targets, was out there for most of the game. It's ugly. I understand that. But if I can punt a position where I think a guy will be at the very least involved at a bad position, he played 73% of snaps, even with Thomas back. If Tommy Tremble remains out, I will actually go back to Sanders at sub 3K. I think it's perfectly fine.
I totally agree. And it seems like they may have found something there, like a long-term solution.
Agreed. Because Ian Thomas is not a good pass catching.
That's what I mean. Like, there was room. It wasn't like, oh, when whoever gets back, this will all regret. They might just say, you know what? This adds a layer of potency to our offense. And Lee just mentioned this in chat. Sanders, Dalton, Deontay
is a good stat.
You're picking basically best available at every other position.
Correct. And I was waiting to get to Sanders when we talked about Dalton earlier in the show, because I wasn't sure if you were going to have a reflexive gag response to that. But no,
I'm on board.
There's a lot of people that thought coming into the draft, that the Panthers got a really good pick in Sanders. Why would you not try and develop a guy like that in a season such as this? What if he's just not bad? If you got 5 from 50 for Sanders, you're thrilled.
Yeah, of course you're thrilled. And if he
he basically did that last week. Sorry, go ahead.
I have nothing to say. Sign me up.
Yeah. He basically did that last week. He had 5 for 49 on 7 targets. To me, give me Jatavian Sanders. How about you down here? Would you go Parkinson, Sanders?
No, I'm going Sanders.
You both are? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I like going with, like I said, it's not just the role right now. I think there's a decent chance that we're going to look back and he'll have a real role in a real offense permanently.
I think you're right. This is kind of where we were at last year early in the season on Laporta, and we saw how well that worked out when he was dirt cheap and, nobody wanted to go there. So obviously better offense with you get all of that. But on the other hand, not a lot of quality proven pass catchers at all behind Deontay Johnson. Like Sanders can carve out a real role as a rookie going forward. It's not crazy. And they should be playing from behind.
I'm always, I mean, it's one of my bigger philosophies in any DFS sport, but especially NFL, PGA would be another. I always will take a shot on a guy. This sounds crazy, but Jatavian Sanders is one of the few guys in this range that by next year, he could be the most expensive tight end on the slate. That is possible. I'd say it's doubtful, but we just don't know how good he is. We have no idea.
I agree. And also, what makes it more possible is the fact that the position's just terrible. Kelsey's going to be another year older. Like, it's probably going to be Brock Bowers.
It's Bowers, but
but
it's not impossible that this guy is like what people thought Kyle Pitts would be.
And how many times have we seen tight ends do this? I know we're running a little bit late, but how many times
Why not?
George Kittle was not expected to come into the league and be a dominant. He was a great blocking tight end, but he's just okay. It's George Kittle. Fine. There have been a lot of tight ends that have shown up out of nowhere and just become preeminent pass catching tight ends in this league, kind of out of nowhere.
I mean, again, it's just there's a lot of unknown with the position and what we have in terms of opportunity cost. I mean, Travis Kelce, where did he go? I don't know, but it was not. I'll tell you this, it was certainly not in the first round. I can promise you that. It's like the third or fourth or fifth round or something like that.
63rd overall, third round. Early, early third round?
Yeah, early third. Is it that different? Man, we went hard for this guy. Better show up now. He's gonna be like out of the league by week 8.
Oh, for sure. This is another Calvin Ridley.
Anthony McFarland.
Here's the good news. Yeah, that was your guy, huh?
Still is.
Here's the good news. He's $2,900.
Yeah.
At least if you're going to take a shot on something like this, you're not paying anything for it, and it's the worst position on the slate. So yeah. We'll see. Plus, it's Tuesday. Maybe we won't need to do this by the time we get to Sunday.
Even if you don't play him, though, I'm saying this is the type of guy to keep an eye on.
Big time. All right, let's close it out. We do this every show. Defense under. By the way, thanks for getting us north of 100 likes, guys. Appreciate you as always. Defense under 3K. It is actually, we had a lot last week. This is really bad. I'm curious to see where you go here because there's not much at all. I have one.
Miami.
You get, man, every time we do this, we're on the same spot. Yeah, Miami for me as well. Hold on. Caveat. Assuming Anthony Richardson is back.
Correct. Definitely if Richardson. Also, it's kind of by default.
It is. But if Flacco's in there, it's not going to be. Richardson makes a lot of mistakes. Dolphins would be my favorite sub 3 KD if Richardson plays. And I expect him to play this week.
Second would be Cleveland.
What's that?
I said if I had to do another one, it'd be Cleveland. As bad as that.
Oh, I have 2 written down. Did you look at the run sheet?
No, sorry.
Oh, I don't. It's more for me than it is for you, honestly. It's for me to steer the show. I have Cleveland written down, and I have the Dolphins, and that's it. Those are the only 2 I have.
Yeah, I mean Cleveland at home. I've been doing. It's just I'm always a sucker for that. It's just.
Yep, me too. It's the only 2 I have, and you hit them both. That's it. There's nothing else down there.
No, there's not.
Hey, follow Ben at JazzRaz Bets, me at Lafayette_D. You guys are the best. We love doing this show with you every week, and appreciate you hanging out, even though sometimes it goes long. If you want to join the 2 of us over on Tails in the premium Discord, get both of our betting packages, buy one, get one free, promo code BOGO, link down there in the description. You'll see it right there. Buy either Lofty or Ben's package, get the other free, use promo code BOGO. Just click it. Whichever one you decide, you'll jump in both of our Discord, get all of our plays on push notifications straight to your phone with the Tails app. Anything else you wanted to mention on that? Because it's been a lot of fun this year.
It's just been, listen, if you see so much what's going on Twitter and everything. There's a million places, a million audiences, but one thing we tried to be is just authentic to who we are at Stokastic and at OddsShopper. So nothing, we didn't reinvent the wheel. We didn't split the atom. If you want to come hang out with a cool community, get some bets, get some info, just come on in, even if it's just for the week. What's so funny about that?
It's great. We didn't reinvent the wheel. We didn't split the
No,
atom.
because
I love it.
I hate when I go to my Twitter, and I'm not attacking anyone specifically. It's just like the number one best thing ever. Like,
I know.
I doubt
No,
it.
we have a good community. We have winning bets, and we have people who understand betting and want to get better at it. Like that's what we both strive for. Oh, and an affordable way to jump in. No
That's what I mean.
crazy VIP for $1,000 a month bullshit, which is almost certainly going to lose.
It's just real. That's what it really is. It's just really authentic stuff. I just dropped a bet in there right before the show. You know what happened? It lost. You know why? Because that happens sometimes. It's just a normal community, but when you add it all up, you're getting value, you're having fun, you're learning, getting picks. I mean, what could be better than that with a really good group of people? So if you don't believe us, come in for the week. And if you hate it, now you know what's in there.
Hell yeah, man. We'd love to have you guys. Plus, you're getting it buy one, get one free with either
two
one.
communities. So
yeah. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Single lineup sim show. You got the college betting show today?
We do. It'll be dropping later today. Me and Gajeski knocking down all the big games. Just be on the lookout. Content all over the place.
Good shit, man. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.